Morning, friends. Well, it's a pleasure and a delight to be in front of all of you. My humble and deepest gratitude to the management of the college. Sadhana, the name itself connotes a lot of meaning. Austerity, perseverance, patience, and a lot more. So as this presentation is just getting loaded, I'll share some of the thoughts which have gone inside of my mind when I got the invitation first. I never knew of sadhana, to be very candid with you. When the invitation came in from the college, I thought about it because Pune has a very close place in my heart. And when I got to read Professor note in that entire thing, I really felt that I can possibly share some of what I have learned over the years. Well, so good morning once again. Let me share it with you. How many of you, okay, let me ask you a question. How many of you are 23 years and plus? Good. So most of you were in diapers possibly when I started my first career. Are we getting it? Great. You don't need it, right? It's not something to be amused about, but let me share it with you. My first brush with the corporate world was in the year 87. That's about 23 years ago. And when I was just out of school, I was just a class 12 student. And what went around in my mind was not for something for the money or anything to start a career in that domain, but something from a perspective of learning what a corporate house would mean, what business would mean, and learning the basic ropes of the business was something that was on my mind. Well, it did give me a lot of exposure and learning, but at the same time, as I was studying further on, it led to a lot of questions in my mind. And those questions were related with, what am I doing over here? Because I didn't study all this while to work 9 to 5 or 9 to 9. And those were the days when you used to have about 8 hours or 10 hours work. And I was on a sales drive, so there was no time for a salesperson. So it's not about an 8-hour shift, it's about 12 hours, 14 hours, and if you're traveling out of station, then it would be 16 hours as well. And next day again, you've got to report back. So that's something which, started me thinking, what are we here for? What am I here for? What is the purpose of my life? And that's the topic which got connected to me when I read the brief from the college, was redefining business. Success versus pleasure. Success versus purpose. The next thing that I did was, I started to ask questions. Questions to my seniors, questions to my parents, questions to the people who I thought can guide me. And friends, I think that's one thing which I learned in life is that you don't need to know a lot of things yourself. When in doubt, ask. Ask someone who possibly knows the answer, and maybe then you can get the ways out of your life. One question which I shared with you, which bugged me or kept me haunting all the time, was what's the purpose of this life that I'm leading? And the purpose of life, I got the answer was to have a life of purpose. Very simply said, very difficult for me to understand, because someone told me, Neeraj, if you want to have or know the purpose of your life, you've got to have a life of purpose. But how do I find the purpose of my life? That's another challenging question, and I was just not possibly understanding that part of it. So I went into further inquiry, and the answers possibly that came across were much more fundamental as to we are all living entities. All of us, human beings, and not just human beings, beyond human beings as well. There are 8.4 million species of life. We are all human beings, and they all have a purpose. They all have a purpose in the nature cycle. What is the purpose? They all have 4 specific things. Can anybody say what are the things which are common between human beings and all any living entities? Very good. Growth. Right. Growth. Breed. Very good. Need. Greed. Fear of death. Correct. So guys, there are 4 fundamental points which I got to understand. All living entities go through 4 phases. They all get birth. They all come into the world. Birth. They all age. We call it old age. The aging happens. There is a disease that takes place. Some or the other thing which does not happen as per what we desire. And then comes the death. So these are the 4 things which keep on happening to all living entities as we are. Birth, old age, disease and death. And that's about all living entities. So how is human beings? That's where we need to ask ourselves. How is human beings, that is we, you and me, are different? Any guesses? And mind you, I have not started my presentation because I believe the next speaker is missing. So I will take that much extra time, don't worry. Pardon? Thought process. Well, wonderful. Any questions? Any suggestions? Intellect. Brilliant. I think that's the most wonderful thing she has said. Between human beings and any other living entity, the difference is intellect. The difference is intelligence. And then, how do you define intelligence, ma'am? Pardon? Ability to think. Ability to think. Fair enough. But everybody thinks. Even a dog thinks. You kick him and he will run away. He thinks.
Ability to make rational decisions.
I can't hear you.
The ability to have a control on your desires.
Fantastic. Okay. Pardon?
Apply knowledge.
Apply knowledge. Fantastic. Application of knowledge, because knowledge will not help. It's the application of knowledge that will help. Yeah, Chandni.
Finding solutions.
Finding solutions. Brilliant. I think you are a wonderful audience. Let me share with you, all of you are right. The difference and the ability of intelligence. How do we define intelligence? The intelligent person learns from others. Applying knowledge, intellect, differentiation. When we learn from others, when we think, when we don't act instinctively, because all the living entities, even a dog, would act instinctively. If you kick the dog, what happens? He runs away or he will bite you possibly. That's instinctive. But when we apply mind to it, when we think and we act according to our intelligence, that's where the discrimination between human beings and the other living entities occur. So well, as human beings, applying intelligence, learning from others, what are we here for? That was the next question. What are we here for? Why did we get this life?
Some purpose.
Purpose. True. That's where we are again, coming back to success versus purpose. So it might sound a bit radical when I'm sharing my thoughts with you. I don't know about other speakers who have possibly shared in the same line of thought, but I'm about to share with you some of the knowledge that I have garnered over the last 23 years, and that says that we are all here for happiness. We are finding pleasure. We are all in search of pleasure. Why are you all studying so hard? Why are you all working so hard? Because we are all looking for pleasure at some date, at some point of time in our lives. And that happiness and pleasure has the ability to give us our effort and our perseverance that comes from the word called sadhana. Now, how do we get happiness? How do we get pleasure? We got to serve. We are all either looking for becoming entrepreneurs, each of you, or wanting to join an organization, a corporate. Am I right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you say service, you are going to join corporate world and work, You say, I'm in service. In the occupation, do you guys write down that?
Yes.
Right. So when you write down, right now you must be writing student. But when you start to work, you will write down your occupation as service. What does that word mean? It means to serve. And to serve for happiness or pleasure that you get by the money that you get, by the contribution that you're making, by the learning that you're having, and all these things, whether it is money, whether it is the learning, whether it is the contribution that you're making, or some of the people, when I was young, the ladies, the girls in the college used to say, why are we studying? They said to get married. That was the time. Those were the days of Doordarshan. So everybody is looking for service. Whether we are serving our employers, whether we are serving the institute, whether we are serving our families, whether we are serving our kids, it amounts to service. Whether we are getting paid in terms of money, whether we are getting paid in terms of kudos, some kind of a praise or a brickbat, it amounts to service. So logically, whom do you want to serve? Any answers? Ourselves. Okay. That's a very selfish mentality. Our dear ones. Okay. That's somewhere. Okay. Whom do you want to serve, guys? The society. Okay, the big words. 2 days is working, it seems.
Family.
Family. Okay. Customer. Brilliant. Get money. So gentlemen, I won't take much of your time because the topic is pretty vast. I can go on for 2 days, don't worry about that. But we have to continue and finish it in about 20 minutes time. That's the time allocated, and maybe I have stole away some bonus time from the people over here. But fundamentally, I'll come to the point. We need to identify whom we want to serve. And that comes not from the books, that does not come from the institute. You need to ask yourself whom you need to serve. And that answer you will get it basis what you like. Only in the domain that you enjoy or you want to excel is where you should put your heart into and you should go there to serve. I think one of the movies that we talked about somewhere yesterday, we were talking about 3 Idiots. And that movie, I think, is brilliant. It gives a clear message. Find a purpose of your life. Do not just get dragged in the rat race. Because at the end of the day, in the rat race, whosoever wins, even if you win, you are still a rat. Find a purpose to your life from that perspective, and therefore, what is that we need to serve? And coming back to the point wherein I have shared my learnings and success and purpose, one thing which impacted me most in my last 23 years of life was Doordarshan. Now why Doordarshan? Because that was the only channel that we had when we were, young. Today there are a plethora of channels, and I really find it difficult which channel to watch because there are no content-led sites as such. Or maybe the content that I'm possibly looking for. But Doordarshan used to be having one program in those days. The name was Mahabharata. Have you heard of that program?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. So gentlemen, I have put together, actually I have not put it together, I have just plagiarized the learnings of Mahabharata and a presentation on that and related it with business. Redefining business, success versus purpose. So that was just the warm-up. Why Mahabharata? That may be the question that you may ask. Because we are all at war out there. Outside this auditorium, we are all at war. Why? Because there is a very stiff competition between corporates, between brands, between customers, and everybody is trying to get another share. Until unless we be intelligent, to learn from the mistakes of others, to learn from our own scriptures. I think we have a wealth of knowledge, and that knowledge needs to come in the business perspective. And when it comes in the business perspective, I think all of you would take home something very useful in the next 30 minutes. So just a trivia for those who are not conversant with what Mahabharata was all about. It was the second largest epic of the world. It's the second largest epic in the world. And what's not in Mahabharata, it's not in this country. So everything that we can think of, everything, good, bad, and the ugly, that we see today is there in Mahabharata. You can call it the buffet of ideologies, and it was written 5,000 years ago. Harappan culture is what we all understand it, and it has been narrated thrice. The last by Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya. And it has some mind-boggling revelations. Astronomy, geography, it mentions land as far as Cambodia, Kazakhstan, Scandinavia. Mathematics, it has numbers to the power raised to the power of 16 and minus 16. Description of weapons, which are nuclear weapon definitions, today's definitions of chemical weapons. It's all there in Mahabharata. Complex military formations and strategies. It has philosophy, psychology, sociology, spirituality, religion, politics, and even management lessons. That's the kind of expanse India had, and these are the places, I'm sure we can't read all these places, but these are the kind of places which find mention in Mahabharata. So that's the kind of depth people had when they had written this. What was the logistics? Kauravas had 11 Akshayani power or military. Pandavas had 7 Akshayani. Now what is Akshayani? That's the word that is mentioned in Mahabharata. One Akshayani is equivalent to 21,870 chariots. Same number of elephants, that is 21,870 elephants. 65,610 horses. 109,350 foot soldiers. Total of 39 lakh people were there at war in the land of Kurukshetra. And war is the same as what we are in today. So we are one of today's context, we are one among them today. So let's take some learnings over here. Are you all ready? Yes, sir. Fair. So let's draw some comparisons. Let's learn from Kauravas and Pandavas. The battle was fought between the two parties, Kauravas and Pandavas. The generals were, from the Kaurava side, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shalya, Kripacharya, Ashwasthama, Duryodhana. And from Pandavas it was Arjun, Bhima, Drashtadyumna, Abhimanyu, Ghatotkacha, and Shikhandi, Satyaki. The background was simple. Pandavas were exiled for 13 years, and their main strength, their financial, political powers, depended on their friends, relatives. And in Kauravas, they were in power all the while. Good, in a good way or the bad way, they were continuing not to give the rightful powers or rightful resources to their cousins, Pandavas. What was the motivation? Kaurava said, Duryodhana went on record that I won't give land equivalent of the tip of the needle without a war. He was very clear for the war. He wanted a war. Completely focused on war. Whereas on the other hand, Pandavas were cursing themselves. They were saying, we can't be fighting over a piece of kingdom like dogs. So they were not looking at the war from a perspective of getting back their kingdom, but they fought for a cause. Because their wife had been insulted, they were humiliated, their kingdom was taken, and even though they wanted to avoid the war by just getting 5 villages, they were pushed into the war. The result, it lasted for 18 days. 10 days under the authority of Bhishma, 3 days under Drona, 1.5 days under Karna, half day there was no general. 1 day under Shalya and 1 night under Ashwasthama. There was a major destruction, major loss of lives. From the Kaurava side, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shalya, and a lot of people gave up their lives. From Pandavas, Drupad, Virat and his sons Abhimanyu, Ghatotkacha had to give up their lives. So, how did the Pandavas win? That's where the learning starts. What we do is, We just break the entire epic into a business case study. That's all. The preparation. The preparation for the battle was through countrywide mission from the Kauravas side. They subdued their kingdoms, acquired wealth, and in the process, they lost a lot of their energy in terms of creating money, creating wealth, and in order to fight the bigger battle. Whereas, on the other hand, Pandavas had no kingdom of their own. They went on to get their allies. They set out on a mission. Arjun set out on a mission to get the Divya Astras, which is the nuclear and the chemical weapons. Bhima met up with Hanuman and got blessings of enhanced strength. Yudhishthira got various teachings into the game of dice, because if they are pushed into the game of dice again, he should not lose again. The learning is turn your weakness into strength. No matter how subdued you are made to be, don't give up. From the Kaurava side, allies, let's discuss allies. They had a very centralized power system, the greatest empire of the time, but not many powerful allies. They had allies like Gandhara, Shakuni, Sindhu, Cambodia, and from Pandava's side, no wealth, no power of their own, but powerful allies all over India. The next speaker time begins now. Thank you. Panchala got that association for Pandavas, and a lot of other associations happened through networking, we call it today. Dwarka, Magad, Chedi, Kasi, Kekai, Matsya, Rakshasas, Nagas make powerful allies. Get your networking in place before you go to the war. Leadership. Kauravas had centralized leadership. One head of army at the time who was supreme authority of the entire force. That was 25 lakh people. 2.5 million people under one general. In the order of Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shalya and Ashwasthama. That's what we discussed a couple of slides back. Whereas Pandavas, they had a decentralized leadership process. 7 commanders in the 7 divisions of army. 1 command for 1 Akshwani. Virat, Drupad, Sadeva, Drashtaketu, Satyaki, Shikhandi. Arjun was the supreme commander and Krishna was Arjun's charioteer and counselor. Learning, share your responsibilities. Delegate. Find a team of people to work for you. Team spirit, that's the next. Kauravas, very surprising fact. They were very powerful, much powerful than Pandavas actually. Pandavas had only 64% of their strength in terms of the overall battle. They had Kauravas had much more when it comes to the power. But because there was no team spirit, Bhishma was protecting the war to the throne of Hastinapur. Drona and Kripa, they owed allegiance to the throne. Shalya simply cheated by Duryodhana because actually he was coming to participate in the war from Pandava's side, but he was cheated to participate from Duryodhana's side. Karna, again, friendship for Duryodhana, no other reason. Supporting wrong people, serving wrong people. They didn't gel well. Everybody was fighting among themselves. Bhishma and Karna, Bhishma and Shakuni, Karna and Shakuni, Karna and Shalya, Shalya and Bhishma. It was like a bees on it, put together in a jar. Pandavas, on the other hand, were a one team, one goal. As a man, they all had huge respect for Krishna and Yudhishthira, while as warriors, were in complete awe of Bhima and Arjuna. And for them, it was their common war. Teamwork succeeds where individual effort fails. That's the learning that we can draw. The sum of individual people is more than the sum of individual parts per se. Individual motives. From the Kauravas' perspective, except for Duryodhan, nobody wanted the war. All the four main generals had strong ties with Pandavas. Bhishma, he said, I won't kill Pandavas. I will kill 1,000 soldiers each day. From the Drona side, he said, I will capture Pandavas, but I again won't kill them. Shalya, he loved Pandavas and covertly helped Pandavas by humiliating Karna. Karna again promised not to kill Pandavas except Arjun. Whereas Pandavas had a common goal. So in an organization that you are getting into shortly, have a common goal, have a shared goal. But the individuals had individual targets. So although the organization had a common goal, but every individual had an individual target. Their own agenda became one with the team's agenda. So Drashtadyumna was fighting against, or particularly against Drona, Shikandi against Bhishma, Satyaki against Bhusvyasura, Arjun against Karna, Bhima against Duryodhan and his brothers, Sahadev against Shakuni and his sons, Nakul against Karna's sons. The right team, therefore the learning comes across, the right team is made by selecting the right individuals. Get the right man on the right job. Commitment. Already said, we discussed that. Some of the Kauravas had attachment for Pandavas. And Bhishma himself gave away the secret of killing him to Pandavas. So there was a clear espionage that was happening and there was a clear sharing from the other camp that was happening. Drona too indirectly gave away a secret, how to kill him. Karna did not kill Yudhishthira. In fact, he took a vow from his mother that I will not kill any of the Pandavas except Arjun. And he didn't save Duryodhan when Bhima was killing him. From the Pandava side, a lot of valor, a lot of perseverance, patience, and warrior spirit. Abhimanyu, 16-year-old kid, ventured into the enemy's side, and it took about 7 Maharathis, 7 great warriors, to pull him down. Ghatotkacha. Even while dying, I don't know how many of you remember those Mahabharata days, I'm just trying to recall. When he was falling, he took half the army with him. Yudhishthira, he knew he couldn't face the war, or couldn't face Karna in war. But he still went out to set an example. Therefore, the leader has to set an example. Krishna himself took up arms twice, but he was stopped by Arjuna. Therefore, even though they were committed to their individual goals, the interest of the individual should never exceed the team's interest. The best man for a job is not the one with the best capabilities, but the one with greatest commitment. If you can recall the movie Chak De India, how many of you have seen it? All of you, great. This reminds me of the shot in the last sequence when they are fighting the finals. And when the little girl from Haryana says, go, show that man, and she gives a pass. So even though that little girl from Haryana was very clear that she wanted to be the goalie, she wanted to get that goal, but she sacrificed her own personal interest in the benefit of the team. And she passed on the thing to that lady from Punjab. I don't remember the names, but I'm sure all of you can relate to. Preeti Sabarwal. The name still sounds so hot, right? So guys, that's where individual interest, surpasses. And we need to give up our individual interest, if at all we have one, in the interest of the organization that we are working for. Right managers, Krishna, greatest crisis manager the world has seen. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, you will realize a lot what is possibly there in your management books. Every page, and my invitation to you is, get hold of a copy of Bhagavad Gita, open any page of it, ask a question to yourself, whatever questions that are bugging you, open any page. I bet you will find the answers that the questions that you have been asking for, the answers over there. Try it out. And if you are unsuccessful or if you don't get the answers, please write to me. Not that I am Krishna's representative, but definitely I have that view. Yudhishthira, he was a low-key strategist. What he did, if we remember, before the start of the battle, he went to the other side of the camp in order to get the Ashirwad from all the leaders. In a way, what he was doing, he was getting allegiance from them. He got allegiance from the generals of the opposite forces to ensure that his side suffers the least damage. He took a calculated risk. It made an offer to all the assembled people when he came back that whosoever wants to join this side of the forces, please join. And one of the Duryodhana's brother, Yudhutsava, joined the battle. So that also showed how hollow Kauravas were. The team spirit was lacking, and that's something which we need to learn in our organizations, in our day-to-day efforts. And I'll share it with you once again. It's not that I have mastered the art of management. I am still a student, a work in progress. And these are the things which I myself trying to implement. I won't say that I am implementing them. So the message is, know your enemies, weakness, and exploit them. Take calculated risks. Inspire, invigorate, counsel your own team in the moments of need. The roots. What are the roots? Kauravas had never seen ground realities. They were always, brought up with a golden spoon. So they had never had a ground feeling. Whereas Pandavas, they had lived in abject poverty. They have been on exile. They have been in the forest. They had seen it all. The ground reality check was done. Learning, know ground realities. When you go to the war, when you go to your organizations to work, know your ground realities. Don't think that you will be getting on the day one an AC office and a chamber to sit and start performing. Sorry, if that happens, too bad for you. Let me share it with you. Until unless you get to the market, you get your shirt dirty with the ground realities of the market, don't expect the results to come so easily. No different ideologies. And India, they say, the culture changes every 100 kilometers, and the accent, the language changes every 30 kilometers. So there is a lot that is happening in India. India is one of the most fastest growing economies, they say yesterday. Yeah, in some of the form. Most important, how many ladies are there in the room?
Majority.
A lot of them, great. With all due respect to all of you, gentle ladies, women empowerment. I think that's again a learning that we can take from Mahabharata. Kauravas didn't have it. They were all an army and the team of males. Whereas in Pandavas, it was a matriarchal structure. Kunti was there, Draupadi was there, and Yudhishthira said actually, whatever my mother says is dharma to me. Learning, women is the better half. Do not undermine their contribution. And mind you, when I'm saying this, I'm remembering my wife right now. Because while I'm standing in front of you, she's managing the affairs back at home. So they are your better half. That's why they are known as the better half. We are not really as good, possibly. But they are definitely better than us. Any team which does not have a women is unbalanced. So the masculine traits of aggression needs to be matched up with docileness, harmony, and sustenance. A quick repack, gentlemen. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. Turn your enemies into allies. Share your responsibilities. Teamwork scores over individual effort. Right team, right set of individuals, the right men for the right job. Commitment scores over competence. Team interests over individual interests. Know your competitors. Exploit their weaknesses. Take calculated risks. And when I'm using the word exploit, I do not mean in an unethical or an illegal manner. Exploit means plan. Know what are the chinks in the armor of your competitor and do everything which is legal, ethical. The right managers you must have, become one to inspire, invigorate and counsel your team in crisis. Know ground realities, accept different ideologies, cooperate, empower women. Gender balance is required for stability and administration. Before I say thank you, I really would like to share something which I left in the beginning, you need to identify whom you want to serve. Keep on asking this question to yourself, because till the time you don't get an answer, you might get a job but not a career. You might get money but not happiness. And what we discussed in the beginning, I'll just close it with that. If you have the intelligence, if you are human beings, you believe so, right? And if you believe that your purpose over here is to find happiness and pleasure, find out what is the purpose of life, find out the right person whom you would like to serve, and that will not only give you happiness, not only will give you money, not only will give you contentment, but also you have a chance to get out of the circle of birth, old age, disease and death. Thank you so much.